Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, and it's a great time to talk about mental health. Today, I want to talk about three questions that you should ask yourself before responding to something that troubles you. Last week, I got a message, and without getting into the details, this message really bothered me, and it got me upset, and I was thinking, how could this person say this in the message? And then I read it again. And it occurred to me, more than likely, they didn't actually mean it in the way that I was taking it. Has this ever happened to you? What I'm noticing is this is happening more and more often with the various forms of communication that we have today, which is ironic because you would think with advanced technology we would get better at communicating, but it seems like we've actually gone backwards. And the more disconnected forms of communication, such as texting and social media, it seems like there's greater opportunities for misunderstanding and for taking things in a way that they weren't meant to be taken and misconstruing. If you're struggling with mental health or you're just stressed out, you know that there's more likelihood for this to happen to you. So I want to give us three questions that we need to ask ourselves when we're starting to notice this happening with a message that we're struggling with. First thing that I want us to consider is maybe this person didn't actually mean it in the way that we're taking it. So the first question you should ask yourself is it possible that they didn't really mean it the way that I was taking it? Sometimes what I've noticed, if you go back and read or you listen or you recall the conversation, and if you were to ask yourself, what's the most innocent way that they could possibly mean this? Sometimes you'll find yourself able to give them a little bit more grace and realize that, yeah, maybe their motives aren't as bad as what the motives that you're assigning them to. And possibly, maybe the motive that you're assigning them is based on what your motive would be if you were to say the same thing. But maybe them saying that isn't exactly that dark motive that you're assuming that they are. So the first question you should ask yourself is it possible that they didn't mean it this way? Second thing to consider is maybe they're just having a bad day. So, a lot of times we'll get a message or we'll have a conversation with somebody, and the context of what they're going through really matters. So the second question that I would encourage you to ask is, if I had just found out that this person had just lost their cousin or some kind of loved one, would I be upset with them or would I be willing to give them grace? Chances are, if somebody sends you a message that says, okay, fine, I'll do this, or sorry, I can't do this right now, or something that just generally seems rude or short or whatever, we get our own responses and our own emotional reactions, and those walls go up and those defenses come up. But if we were to find out that person is genuinely struggling with something, we'd be willing to give them more grace. And that comment would make a lot more sense given that context. So the second question is it possible that they're going through something that I don't know about? So we talked about maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe they're going through something. The third one is maybe I'm going through something. You see, a lot of times people will perceive something because of their own filter. A lot of people talk about the dirty filter. For example, if I've been hurt by somebody, it's going to be a lot harder for me to see other people's genuine motives. And if somebody had a mother that was abusive, then a message from a strong, harsh-sounding, authoritarian female might come across in that way, even if that's not what it was meant to be. Or if somebody had a father that was neglectful, a miscommunication on a male authority figure may be perceived in that light. And there's a whole slew of other things. Maybe you're just stressed out, and when you're stressed, your mind automatically goes a lot darker places than you would if you weren't stressed. So maybe you're stressed out. So the third question you should ask yourself is there something in my life that's causing me to misperceive this? Are you going through something right now? Are they reminding you of somebody in your past that you haven't forgiven? Or is that conflict similar to another conflict that you haven't resolved? And maybe they have absolutely no ill intentions towards you, but because you haven't worked through this other thing, now this current situation is causing you a lot of undue stress. So 3 questions. Is it possible they didn't mean it this way? Is it possible that they're going through something that I don't know about? Is it possible that I need to resolve something else in my own life that this is reminding me of? Now let's say you ask those 3 questions and you get to the conclusion that no, none of those 3 things are applicable, and this person just genuinely is being aggressive with their message. The last thing I want to share with you is Proverbs 15:1. It says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger." Even if the other person is totally wrong in their message, guess who has a responsibility to stop that conflict right then and there? We do. When we get that message, we have a choice. We can either use the harsh words that stir up anger. We can either react out of our emotions and our pride, or we can set that pride aside and say, you know what? God tells us soft answer turns away wrath. And so I'm going to give grace here. I'm going to diffuse this tension. I might even give them a compliment that they don't deserve. And I'm going to turn away wrath with a soft answer. I hope this helps somebody. I hope that in these times, and this as we're approaching winter, and many of us are still struggling with the unique circumstances of this year, I hope that we can all find these ways in our interpersonal communications to manage the conflict as best as we can in order to prevent relationships from going bad, because we need each other in these times. And there's too much at stake to be getting on each other's cases over a text message. God bless you guys. Have a great day.